Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? All right. Yeah. So on my live, we were talking, I don't know, yesterday, day before, whatever. I'm gonna catch up now with this episode. There's an interesting picture of Gary Sash, Gary Pinedo, rest in peace, Sash 357. He also wrote NEW, Never Ending Writers, Sash. Down with a bunch of crews, hung out with a bunch of different people. And yeah, it's his photo album, I believe. You would have to ask D3. That's where I got the picture. I found it on his Instagram. Samuel Mark Art is where I got the picture from. But it's, I believe, Sash's photo album cover. And on it, you'll see Skate. Remember, I was talking about Skate, TC5, Race 5. He was the guy that showed Gary Sash Grand Army Plaza, and that's when I started going down to Grand Army Plaza. When people were asking me about, I think that's the name of the episode. Where people ask me, "You mean to tell me down on the Grand Army Plaza they used to park trains?" And I was like, "Yeah, the Ford train. We used to hit them." And not many people knew about it. It was some kind of secret or something. I figured everyone knew that. But yeah, you'll see that's the guy. Skate. TC5, I think TMT, he was also down with. You also see in that thing it's ghost tags, ghost, RIS. I think it says ghosty ghost, but part of ghost tag is cut off because, like I was explaining in my past videos, that Sash was good friends with him probably even before 357 was invented. They were hanging out. Sash goes back far. He started out with like Delta and them, I remember. They were hanging out for a while with Sharp and them. Wagner, PS 167, public school, junior high school. I was in that school with them when they were there. But yeah, so the picture's pretty interesting. And on my live feed, people, oh, well, Ghost is the, I don't know. Someone's starting to get into how he's a big dude and this and that thing with Revolt and stuff. And honestly, Revolt is a puny human being as well. He's like, his chest is all sunken. You know, Revolt, no threatening looking human being. You ever see Revolt? Yeah, he looks like some truck driver on speed or some shit. It's like driving around the country all the time, popping fucking pills of speed or something like that. So he's no threatening dude. That's not really no notch on your belt, I guess would be the term. And it got me thinking that even when they had that show, when Espo had come out with his book, The Art of Getting Over in the New Millennium, they were having a book signing party at Joe's Pub. And I actually wasn't even invited. Like I heard through other people, that were in the book and were going, "Yo, Rob, you go out of that." I didn't even know about it. So I got back in touch with Espo. They didn't want me to go. Had something about security reasons or something like that. And I was telling, "What do you think? Like, I'm going to come in here? Like, what do you think? My people are going to be jumping out the bushes or something? Like, we're going to be hiding here or something?" I was like, "I don't give a fuck about that. That's you're thinking about doing a tree now. It's a totally different time." So he said, "You could go after I promise. I'll go by myself." And I said, "Actually, I'll just bring one friend with me, Rum. He's a humble character and all. So I went to that thing, and everyone was there. Stan 153, Hush, uh, Reese was there, Hush was there, Stan 153, Kite Ven was there. Did I say Joey TDS? He was there. Uh, Hush, Eddie Hush. Everyone that was in that book was pretty much there at Joe's Pub. And Ghost came through. And I was actually sitting with Ben and Kite. I had been putting cocaine out on the table, doing big lines of cocaine. And Ghost was coming through the door. And Ben had said, "Yo, look, there's Ghost over there." This time I was like, "Oh, cool." I was actually, cool. And he went he didn't come in. He wouldn't come in. Ben told him I was there, and I was like, "Yo, dude, tell him I don't give a fuck, man. Like that's crazy." But yeah, he wouldn't even come in the place, and that was like, yo, every single human being that wrote, like there was anything back then. Wayne was there. Wayne COD was there. But just like everyone you could think of that was in that book was at that place. And I was like, yeah, it's over with. Like we squashed beef. Like I got no problems. But yeah, he wouldn't even come in the place. Now, let me say this. He was with a very beautiful woman. And, he probably was like, shit, I'm over here, I'm going to go out smoozing. He thought, this, that. And all of a sudden, our D's there. He said, let me not. Now, yeah, he didn't even walk in the place. Which got me thinking, just so you guys think, oh, RD is bad and big and all this and that. I'm going to tell you about a similar situation that I was in with my wife. She wasn't my wife at that point. And as a matter of fact, if you listen closely to my last live that I was there with D3, he's actually mentioning it, and I'm not thinking, because like when I'm looking here, and I'm talking, and people are asking me questions, and I'm not even listening pretty much to what he said. But around the time when they was talking about Steve Tierney, someone had asked if I know Steve and Patty Tierney, and I was, oh yeah, I know him, and I think I just went on to another conversation, and then Sammy had stayed on an interesting conversation, and I'm going to bring it forward because that similar situation, the ghost was in at Joe's pub. Here it goes. I forget whose birthday it was, probably one of the Bonet brothers, uh, one of them guys. And I was also talking about Isaac's uptown. Yeah, Bobby Angus had passed away and stuff like that. So Isaac's the projects up there. So I forgot what Ginky was there too, the pool player kid. That Joe Rogan talks about a lot. Who else was there? A bunch of people. Just all of us were there. And I forget what happened, but I think the day before I was in John Jay Park or something. I was with my girlfriend that later on became my wife. And we were going out maybe a month or two. We're still getting to know each other, and exposure to all types of crazy violence and shit. You know, like the woman that think you're a violent, mean person or something like that. So I was on my best behavior. I forget who it was, maybe Sammy or Mark, Kid One or someone. They told my girlfriend, you coming to the party tomorrow? It's so and so's birthday or something in this pool hall that they opened up at 80 something Street, Third Avenue or something like that. So I was actually trying not to have her come because, these dudes, most of these guys are wild ass motherfuckers. Like, it's not someone you'd want to uh, bring your girlfriend to on like a date when you're getting to know each other and you're kind of in the honeymoon period of your relationship. So they and so she was like, "Yeah, I want to go this that." So we go. Me and her go. I remember Spawn was there. All the dudes from Isaacs, most of them were there. I believe Pace was there. Uh, um, Sammy was obviously there. He's the one that was telling the story live. Um, the Bonet brothers were there. Uh, Shit, just everyone you could think of. I think Mark Carlin was there, rest in peace, a bunch of people. And Patty Tierney and Steve Tierney, I think, was with him too, his brother. So he walks up to me in the middle of the place. He's like, "So you're a big RD. You're a big bad RD. Yo, come on, let's fight, this and that." I'm sitting there with my girlfriend. So I kind of pull him off the side. Like, can we do this another time? I'm over here kind of chilling. Like, I don't want to fight you, bro. Yeah, true story. He's like, yo, don't worry. Yo, it's cool. This, that, blah. And I was like, yo, you got it. Yeah. And I shook his hand and this and that. Never had a problem with him again. But yeah, that's a true fucking story. Sammy was actually saying that, like word for word. If you really go back to my live with Sammy, and you'll hear that. So it's, if you don't fight someone, you don't fight someone. That's it. It's nor win nor lose or whatever, however you want to look at it and stuff. But it's been presented, and if someone's going over you and something like that, and graffiti or something like that, it's got to end one way or the other. You follow me? So, like I've explained, Ghost and TK, they had taken the punk way. They punked out. That's true. That happened. And I don't know how else to put it. Um, yeah, but I thought that was interesting because if you really do listen to Sammy, D3, in the live, when me and him are on here, someone asked us about the Tierneys, and them dudes, they ain't fuck around, man. Back in the days, man, yeah, them dudes up in Isaacs and shit like that, them dudes ain't fuck around. Like I said, I was there, my girlfriend, it's this and that. I remember another time too, when I didn't punk out. But I was like choking or some shit. Like some dude, he came up, yo, Adidas that, and some about that girl with she does them legs with the bubble gum on the shoe. I think he was her boyfriend or some crazy shit. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. Like, I honestly never met that woman or know anything about her. And I don't know if he was accusing me of being sexually involved with her or if I knew her. And I said, I don't know her. And, yo, you bullshitting this. And it's like, I honestly do not know what you're talking about. Like, but yeah, that girl that does them feet with the women's shoes and their step. I think he was in reference to her, but I'm like, yeah, I'm R&D, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I don't know that woman's name. I've seen these shoes around and stuff like that. Oh, that's not you. Oh, man, fuck you. I kept walking. I think I was eating a slice of pizza. It was like 3 in the morning or something. Yeah, that was weird, but the guy shocked me. I mean, the first thing I didn't even have my knife. I was like, but I'm thinking, I'm like, I honestly do not know the person you're talking about. Like, it's not like I'm pumped out. Do this, that, and I mean, he was obviously drunk and shit like that. But yeah, shit. I mean, I don't hide behind my shit, man. Anyone can get me anytime, man. Everyone knows where I work and live, man. Yeah, I mean, oh, it is what it is. But what else were we talking about on there? Yeah, so we got through that with the thing. Yeah, Joe's Pub, Espo, and you know what it is too. It's some of you guys get and maybe I'm guilty of it too, but not when it comes to the newer writers. You see, I think it's like there are people could be overly nostalgic. Like, in other words, for me to admit that the younger generation now is putting in, way harder than my generation or the generations before that, you see it, and at one point it passes it, and you're like, yeah, but still they don't be doing it. Yeah, but still they're doing, because if the person, when the era that you grew up in, it's like your era, and it's kind of like everything else is kind of like off of it. It's almost like you think back about all the movies back in the days, man, like The Godfather, all these crazy shit that was going on. Like we were talking about Roy Schneider, right? Like the Seven Ups and Jaws and French Connection, and all these movies that were out, and how movies were so much better back then, and this and that. It's almost like a nostalgia weighs in on the actual um, movie itself. It's more like the experiences and the decades that come beyond it and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of like what happens with this graffiti thing, and some people actually get salty about it. But they really are just dudes that grew up and write graffiti. I mean, they're not superheroes. They're just out there doing their shit, man. And it's nothing really special. Some people just lived closer to the train yards and shit like that, which made it easier for those people to get up more than others. And some people were really just out there like that. Some people had a lot of money and were doing different things. And you had people who were doing pretty shit. Then you had people that jocked people, and you had people that were going over people, and you had people that like fuck everyone, this, that, blah, blah. You had a lot of different groups. And culturally, I mean, race really didn't play a part in a lot of graffiti. I mean, all the people I hung out with and everyone was just well blended, I guess would be the term. White, black, Spanish, Chinese, whatever. So I don't think that that was an issue. It was more neighborhoody or crewy, but it was definitely people didn't like other writers. Like one group of writers definitely wouldn't like another group of writers, and that group of writers wouldn't like another group of writers, and it was always like beef, you know. And that part of the graffiti is no longer around in today's day and age, from what I'm seeing. Um, Now, once again, I guess it would be nostalgic or overly nostalgic. I don't like the fill-ins and stuff like that, but that's just that new wave stuff because my mind thinks like old school stuff, But I really try to not be biased or anything on here. Of course, like subconsciously in my mind, I have my favorites, and there's also topics that I might know more about than other topics. Like, for instance, Brooklyn keeps coming up, and Brooklyn is some, matter of fact, something about art, RRC, or something like that. This art and that art. And I think they're accusing me of not knowing shit about Brooklyn or something like that. Or not, and I honestly had made a whole episode about me not knowing shit about Brooklyn. I didn't fuck around in Brooklyn. I was Bronx and Manhattan. Wrote in a lot of tunnels in Brooklyn as far as it goes with hitting layups and stuff like that, yards and shit like that. Yeah, I didn't actually walk around the neighborhoods and conversate with people and steal shit or anything like that out in Brooklyn. I hardly even sold most of the shit that, like all the motorcycles and all the fucking shit that we were robbing and stealing. Most of that shit went up to the Bronx. Yeah, or it went out to Queens. Um, I mean, there's probably a few places where someone, an individual person might live in Brooklyn and drive it out to them or something like that. But yeah, Brooklyn was not a big part of my life. It really wasn't. Queens was, and in the 80s and stuff like that, hanging out with PKKK, Ross, Jav, Vice, Sear, Form, OI, AWE, TPW, just Ken, Jaff, just so many of them dudes. It's a lot of teenagers and shit in that area of Astoria, Queens. And so I would hang out over there, be known more about the neighborhood and its surroundings. So I would be more familiarized with it. Whereas Brooklyn, I never had them opportunities. There's a bit of, I mean, DB, DB Doobie, he had taken me out to the scrapyard, and I've hung out with him a few times out in Brooklyn or something like that. But Nash brought me to a lot of layups and tunnels and shit like that that were all over the fucking place, but we never really went up ground. And he was familiar with them. I believe he's from Brooklyn, probably born and raised in Brooklyn. Um, but we really didn't like venture around neighborhoods or stuff like that. So that was all underground. I just knew what stop to get off of and get onto. And I think I do know what someone had mentioned about Cherry Hill layup. I think I do remember that place. I think that's the place where I was actually yeah, I used to hit that place. That's with the gravel pit. It's not it's elevated, but not really. It's like gravel pits into actually the yeah, Brighton Beach is the same way, like as I would describe it. But the train tracks, there's one or two in the middle, and you have the out towards Coney Island one, and then the one into Manhattan and Queens one. And the middle tracks, they would park them big fucking bulldogs, and yeah, you could hit them for quite a while. But it wasn't like you got to run on planks of wood. It was actually like just a mount of like railroad and spikes and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been to that layup. That's out in Brooklyn. Somewhere around that same area it would be where I actually slid down the mountain. Like it comes down to the overpass where it's like cars go underneath it. It's like a little bridge. When I slid down, I bumped into a battalion dudes actually washing their car. That's like that area to the best of my knowledge. I think that would probably be considered Cherry Hill. I mean, I looked around and actually someone had mentioned on a video that I posted about that story that that sounds like Cherry Hill layup. And, I started thinking maybe that's probably what that is, the Cherry Hill. I forget maybe who brought me over there. I don't remember how I found out about those places. Uh, CB3 or something. I mean CB. I don't know. Sayer maybe. I think OA Nash probably brought me out to those things. Yeah. And then I just started going on my own. I went with D3 a few times. Yeah, probably Nash. OA probably brought me out to that place. And I just rode a lot in them places. There's a nice bend. The trains come on like a nice turn somewhere over there. Where the trains are parked, they start bending like that. Uh, I'm over here looking like this. Wait, I can't wait. I've been doing so many lives. I'm thinking of live. You didn't see that shit? I'm like this. Wait, like someone's gonna ask me a fucking question or something. Um, yeah. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. It's a short video, but peace.